Hey guys, this is Ricci-Lee Hotz, the Dancesport Dietitian of A Taste of Health, and I am coming to you today with a few tips about traveling for competitions when you have food allergies and food sensitivities, and giving you some tips to make sure you still get good food options and you feel like you can still participate in eating experiences. So first thing I want to mention is, if you think about, especially if you have multiple food allergies or sensitivities, it can be really difficult to eat when traveling in general. And then when you add a sport or a dance competition or something where you have to be active and perform and look your best, it can be pretty tricky to make sure you're eating things that make you feel good, as well as that aren't going to make you sick, or obviously if with a risk of an allergic reaction. That's something to be cautious of as well. So the optimal thing that we all wish we could do is cook a bunch of pre-made meals at home, freeze them, bring a whole suitcase of meals, and bring them to the hotel, request a microwave if you need one, and just eat our own food that we cooked at home. But unfortunately, while some people actually are able to make this work, a lot of us just either don't have the time, don't have the space, or just mentally don't have the capacity to take that initiative to prepare those meals for ourselves when we're traveling. So the next thing I would recommend, if that is not an option for you, is bringing some snacks that you know are good for you. So at the very worst, if for whatever reason I'm not able to get a hold of food in a timely manner that I know I can eat, I have snacks from home that work really great for me, and I have those with me, whether they're protein bars, whether they're trail mixes, whether they're Powerball bites, or if you have any other non-perishable or fruit and slightly perishable based items. If some of them are a little more perishable and you don't feel comfortable traveling with them, you can always do an Instacart order or any sort of grocery order and order it to your hotel. So now you have items that you know that you can have around just in case you don't have access to good food. Now, in addition to that, it is nice to be able to eat meals aside from just snacks when you're out. And if you're going with other dancers, being able to either eat after you're done dancing or sit down for breakfast, whatever it may look like. So tips for that, I really like to make sure that if I'm at a restaurant, or buffets can be kind of hard, but always make sure you advocate for yourself and you ask questions. I am someone that has food allergies and food sensitivities, and I understand how difficult it can be because you don't want to be that high maintenance person. But if it's going to make a difference in how you feel, and it's going to make sure that you are safe to eat what you're eating, and you're going to feel good on the dance floor, or you're going to feel good throughout the course of the weekend, then it's worth it. So some questions that I may ask are, can you double check if there's any dairy in any of this? For me, if I have a dairy problem, or gluten, or some of us have problems with garnish. Sometimes we can ask about that. Try and find your way of asking to make sure you cover your bases as best as possible while not feeling too stressed about asking those questions. If the wait staff doesn't seem like they're really engaged or know what they're talking about, then it's worth it to sometimes ask to speak to a manager or a chef that has a little bit more knowledge about those food allergies, so that you know that you are safe, or with intolerances, your digestive system is not going to be upset. So on top of that, if the stuff at the hotel, or you're not on a meal package and you want some other options, a lot of the time I like to find some restaurants that are nearby, and I'll even call them sometimes to double check on ingredients. But I really like to find some restaurants that have some good, healthful feeling food. And so for me, like, ordering from a Mediterranean place can be really great. Sometimes if you're a sushi person, sushi can be great. But depending on what your allergies and sensitivities are, finding a place and maybe testing it the first day and seeing if it seems like a good option. And if something works for you that's nearby, I like to sometimes order double. And what that it does for me is, instead of having to wait for food to be ordered and delivered every single time I need to eat a meal while I'm traveling at an event, is now I have extra in my fridge that I know I can eat, I know I can tolerate, and then I can take that meal and I can save it for the next day. I can either microwave it downstairs if there's no microwave in my room, or if there is one in my room, I'm good to go. Last thing, most rooms do have refrigerators, but if they don't, you can always ask for one in your room. A lot of the time they keep them available, so like Las Vegas, for example, doesn't tend to have refrigerators in the rooms, but you can generally ask, and most of the time you're able to get one in your room, especially if you need to keep some of those non-perishables. So whether you order some groceries, whether you do a mix of asking the right questions and getting what you need from hotel or buffet, or you're ordering delivery, or if you're amazing and have the best time in the world and are able to have all the space to travel and pack your own food, then always a great option as well. So I hope these tips help. Let me know if you have any questions, and I can always go into these ideas further.